Hello, yesterday I woke up to this article in The Australian. It was titled Viral TikTok Activist Senate Candidate Calls Cops Pigs Nazis. And I want to talk about a couple of things about this article. But first, I want to talk about the timing of the article. So it was released a couple of days after Ralph Babet posted a bunch of racist and homophobic slurs on his Twitter. And naturally, The Australian didn't publish any articles on this. But what they did do is go through my Twitter and look at a bunch of posts that I've made about Victoria Police and other police, and then make a little rage bait article, which is kind of funny. Anyways, let's talk about it. So yeah, I did call police Nazis and pigs because that is what they are. But also, I mentioned that they themselves identify themselves as Nazis. And I guess, here's an example of a time that happened, but it's happened a lot of times. This is just the most recent one. I also mentioned the fact that the role of police is to oppress the working class, and that's a pretty standard socialist perspective. And also, yeah, they go around harassing Indigenous kids in our communities and killing them and murdering them. But let's talk about a socialist perspective on police and their role. So Marx writes in Capital Volume 1, Chapter 29, that the role of police is to accelerate the accumulation of capital by increasing the degree of the exploitation of labour. Also, let's get some other quotes going. Lenin writes in The State and Revolution that the most shabby police officer has more authority than the representative of the clan. And that is an indictment on that, and the fact that the state has kind of legislated authority or respect or, authority, I guess, instead of relying on that authority and respect to be earned and stuff like that in a society. Lenin also writes in A Proletarian Militia that, the police and the army should be replaced by a force of the working class that represents the interests of the ruling class rather than just protecting the interests of capital and increasing the flow of capital from the poor to the rich. This is not by any means uncontroversial. We see it every day with what the police do and don't do. If there is a protest, we see the police protecting the shop fronts, standing outside the Maccas, making sure that Maccas doesn't get hurt. We see them lining up, protecting literal Nazis while they're doing Nazi salutes. The role of police, not only literally but symbolically in those instances, is not to protect the working class, it's to protect the rich and their interests. Another quote by Lenin in that same article: public service through a police standing above the people, through bureaucrats who are most faithful servants of the bourgeoisie, and through a standing army under the command of landowners and capitalists. That is the ideal of the bourgeois parliamentary republic. Anyways, that is the role of the police. It's hardly a controversial socialist perspective or anything. But yeah, so the Australian posted an article and they called it an exclusive, and they just reposted a bunch of my tweets in the newspaper, which is quite funny. But while they were doing that, before they did that, they reached out to me and they were like, "Hey, we just want to do a story on your Senate run." And I was like, don't know if that's actually what you're going to do. And then, so asked me some nice, really soft questions at the start. And then they're like, "I've been doing some digging." And then, asked about the tweets. And that's journalism today. Real quality journalism. Anyways, I said what I said. Read the article if you want, but don't read it on The Australian. Go through the Internet Archive so you don't give them any money. Also, I want to finish by saying that if you have one bad cop and then 10 good cops who do nothing about the bad cop, then you have 11 bad cops. Thank you.